What's going on, people? It's your boy Poppit Man, and I'm in the presence of a very, very inspiring individual right now. She's sitting right next to me. She's lovely. She's got mad swag.
Oh,
you know.
Don't, man.
I'm serious.
Oh.
Do you know what? You know what? I'm gonna make you blush.
You do. I am blushing, allow me.
I'm sorry. You know, I didn't want to make her blush right now. But you know what? Let's get back to business. Like seriously, you're back on the scene. You know, you come back with a bang now. I know you're working on a new single. You're planning to release it?
I've got a new single dropping.
Yeah.
Alongside with the EP and the video to support the single. So yeah, you've done your homework.
I've done a bit of research. I know my stuff. I
respect that.
So how did that come together now? How are you working with that? I mean, who produced it? Who produced the track?
Yeah, okay, so the track that's coming out, Angela's Custos, that was produced by a gentleman by the name of Dat Dude.
Okay,
Hold tight, cool. That Dude. He's
an
up-and-coming producer. He's actually produced a majority of the tracks on my EP. Very talented producer, very talented.
Yeah.
The way me and him met again was just magical. So yeah, he's the producer of Angela's Custos, man. But look out for Dat Dude. Remember I told you?
Dat Dude.
I remember he's that. Do you remember when he said my producer name is Dat Dude? I thought, ooh, that's a big name. That's a big name. Yeah, leave it. Hold tight, lethal. Sorry, that is glued to my lips.
BEAU Show over here.
But when I heard his production, it took my breath away. Literally, you know, when it's one of those magical moments where this is the sound I've wanted. Yeah. This is the person I'm meant to work. Right. It worked. It just merged nicely.
I think that's really important, you know, when you get in the studio with a producer and you know, the chemistry's there 100%. And you guys are vibing off each other's vibe and everything's nice. You can create magic, you know what I'm saying?
And with magic we did.
Alright. So, you know, so let's talk about how you've been off the scene for a bit now, you know. Okay. You went off the scene, you was formerly known as like Lady Fury, but then you've come back, your new name is now BEAU Pierre. Yeah. Let's talk about why you had to change your name. How did that come about? Why BEAU Pierre?
Alright, several reasons. I grew up. I grew up. Secondly, it got to the stage where when people were approaching me as Fury, I started to cringe. Not that I'm ashamed of Fury.
Fury, why did you cringe?
It's like superheroes, Lady Fury.
Oh, I see the swag.
Drop me out. Do you know what I mean? You want to be taken a little bit serious. As much as, you know, Fury done amazing things, you know. Yeah. She set a path, she set the way, she pioneered for the female MCs of the UK scene, you know. Give her that. But you got to know when to grow up. Yeah. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I feel you.
So that was one of the reasons. Secondly, for me, when my nephew was born, it's weird, you know, like, he was born and I remember looking at him and I just remember feeling like I want nothing but great things for this child. And
you get me emotional.
No, honestly, it makes me get emotional. Honestly. Jeez. With all my nieces and my nephews, but I was there for the birth of my nephew. You know, from when his mother's water broke. You know, I was there, and my brother as well. Yeah. Why am I so, you know? Why are you there? It was your brother. Anyway, God, don't digress. Yeah. So when my nephew was born, I just remember looking at him and feeling like I want to be a role model for this boy, and I want him to respect me. Yeah. And I've got to make some changes because I'm not living the best I can.
That's the vibe.
Yeah, I'm not being the best I can be. And I'm a forward thinker. Yeah. I think for now, I always think 5-10 years. I thought, God, there will be a day where, you know, I'm going to have to have certain talks with him as an auntie.
Yeah,
maybe,
for sure,
you know,
for sure,
discipline him, reprimand him on certain things. And I thought, tag name Fury, could he really take me serious?
This is the thing, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Straight away, you can see it because you can clock the play, right? No, but auntie, your name's Fury, so really? There'd be no respect. Where's the difference in roles? Where's the difference in I'm your auntie and you're my nephew? Yeah, okay, he was just born. You know, I'm thinking years ahead, but that's how much my family mean to me, you know? So I just thought I need to be thinking on a certain level and a wavelength where, you know, when it comes to the future, things run smoothly. So, when my nephew was born. And thirdly, for me, BEAU Pierre represents the transition and the growth from Fury.
Okay, then. This is the meaty stuff. That
This
is what everyone wants to know. You know, the transition period.
I've done a lot of soul searching in that time.
Tell us a little bit about the soul searching. Like, what inspired you to change your name to BEAU Pierre?
I'll be honest with you. It was a series of events and moments. One of the biggest moments, one of the biggest reasons even was I just remember sitting down. At this time, my mum and dad had, you know, separated. The family went through a bit of a rough patch.
Okay.
My mum bought a house in South Africa, so she emigrated away. My dad then went to the Caribbean.
Shout out to Mumsy.
Yeah, she's doing her thing. She's worked hard. She deserves it.
Yeah.
But I was on my own in this country with my brother. I was 19 at the time, right? So, and I just completed on a mortgage as well for property. And my brother had, so we were just doing our thing.
Alright.
So, I don't know, it was weird. I was on my own. When your parents aren't around, you know, things get real. There ain't that security blanket, like, you know, you can run back to your parents, and you start looking at yourself and thinking, right, I'm on my own now, things have to change, I need to look at myself, what am I doing?
Yeah.
What in my past do I need to let go of? What am I still carrying with me that ain't healthy? That's dead weight, that's baggage. And fury for me was baggage.
Okay.
Because I clocked it. I sat down one day, you know, and started looking at my life. I was given that name Fury. I mean, I thought, okay, why was I given that name? I was given that name because I was that feisty little teenager. Rah, I think I'm cool. Blah, you know?
Yeah.
That's what it was. But then I clocked, okay.
Change up the vibe.
Yeah, but not only that. I mean, I went deeper.
Uh-huh.
Why was I that? Rah.
Okay then.
Why was I that? Why did I act like that? Where did that come from?
Because so you went to the source of the problem.
Yeah, because growing up, I weren't dragged up. Yeah, my family had issues. You know, my parents argued. You know, financially we weren't the best off, but my parents were grafters, so there was always food on the table.
Okay.
It might not have been Tesco's finest, but there was a meal, and I'm grateful for that. Yeah. But so where did that rah come up? Because I weren't brought up like that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. There's ruthlessness in my family and we've gone through struggles, but I was taught manners.
Yeah.
I got that old-fashioned granny that if you don't say thank you after getting your roast dinner, you get a clap round your head.
Straight up.
Where's your manners? Yeah, they don't cost nothing.
I've experienced a few of them claps,
yeah,
I'll tell you that.
I'll tell you about it. Hang tight nanny. So, my nan's serious. Very serious, I'm scared of her. So I went to the source and I remember when I moved to the area, Walthamstow, I was brought up in Leytonstone, born in Hackney, brought up in Leytonstone, we moved to Walthamstow, and I remember going to the park. There was a group of girls, and one of the girls come up to me and said, I heard you said something to my mate, like, you know, I heard you were running your mouth. I'm used to hanging out with my family and my brother. I didn't know about other people coming up to me in groups. Yeah. That was very scary for me. When I think back to how young I was, I must have been about 10 at the time. Mm-hmm. These girls were older, so I'm petrified. But obviously I'm trying to keep my composure. Oh, you know, you said X, Y, and Z. I said, I didn't. I actually don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. Like, I could tell they wanted to do something, so I just kind of kept it calm. I weren't going to get out of it. I had to take what was coming.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So I got hit by various people and got assaulted. And then I went home and I told my dad, innocently as you do at 11. And he was just like, okay, you know, he wanted to sort it out as my West Indian father, you know, as a West Indian man, you know, they just don't like to have a bar of it. So yeah, and then that was that. And I went to the park and it happened a few times, so yeah.
It's happened on more than one occasion?
Yeah. I was bullied. So was my brother, by older boys, because we were obviously outsiders that used to just go to the park, hold a corner as a brother and sister, kick a ball together and chill.
So you're saying it was a local bully kind of thing?
Yeah, so we've come into this area, obviously we're not part of a clique. Me and my brother are really tight, you know, growing up. And even now, I idolise my brother, you know, he taught me half of the things I know and he influenced me getting into music and being athletic and certain things, you know. So me and him used to hang, well I used to follow him. Thanks, bruv. Mum, man, tell her to leave me alone. Like, I just want to hang out with you, bruv, please. Anyway, so it was a reoccurring thing. And then one day, I just snapped. And I was just like, if I don't make a stand, if I don't stop this, I'm going to get beaten up every time I go to a park. Like, this is absurd. Like, I've got to make a stand.
There's only so much you can take.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you,
so back against the wall, I came out swinging. I mean, obviously, that rah made them go, whoa.
Okay then.
Yeah?
Okay.
So that's why the name changed. I realised that Fury was a defence mechanism for Coel. Fury kept everyone away from me. Fury was that shield of rah! When really there was just Coel that likes being with her bro,
Yeah.
And as you get older, just being easy, reading a comic as you do, going out with your mates.
Yeah. Did it start to work, you know?
It did work, but I'll be honest with you, I bit off a bit more than I could chew, because when you're walking down a road, you know, and people are scared to say hello to you because of the persona you've built up and the reputation, you then become very isolated.
Okay.
So then you start to run with the label because, well, I've got the label, I can't get out of it, I don't know how to. Remember, this is me from 11 to 16, still very young-minded, going through puberty. There are a load of factors affecting things, you know, your mind isn't fully developed, you know, family problems, you're still learning to handle your emotions as well as protect yourself. So, obviously, as a young adult, I sat down and said, okay, you're not being bullied anymore. You've got no one to fear apart from God. You don't need to be called Fury. Yeah.
So I'm gonna like kind of like lighten the load a little bit now.
Got a bit deep there, innit?
Got a little bit
Let's
deep.
Just take a moment.
I feel a little bit emotional right now.
I got a bit deep. I did get a bit deep.
I feel like you've taken me on a journey. Like I really do, you know. But basically, so we kind of met like at Capri's birthday party, wasn't it? It was just for his like blog and stuff and whatever.
Yeah.
And when I was at the party, I think I was one of the first people there with my people, and you know, you walked in and I was thinking immediately. I just thought to myself, who is that? Like I was like, who is that? Who is that woman over there? I mean, I could like kind of make out the resemblance. I was like, but I didn't really pinpoint who it was, so to speak. But then you came over and we started speaking and whatever. Yeah. And I thought to myself, the first thing I thought was, this girl's got mad swag.
Thank you. You're making me blush.
No, seriously. Like, I was like, she's got mad swag. I was thinking, like, where does this style come from? I mean, can I ask you that now? Like, for your viewers right now, you know, that are watching this interview, they want to know, like, why you've changed up your whole image. Like, where does your swag come from? Where does your inspiration for how you dress come from? You know?
I don't know. I like to have fun. I like to have fun. You know, I like concepts. I like themes. So today I've got on like my Brogue boots, and then I've got on my G-Star military jeans.
Okay.
Just a basic tee from Primark, and then I've just got the feathers.
I like that though, by the way.
Thank you. Just got the feathers and the Johnny Bravo quiff.
I'm feeling that quiff. That was
it's a little Johnny Bravo.
Do you know, I was thinking about that in my hair as well.
Serious?
Yeah. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. But
you kill me. And then the blonde/white streak Cruella de Vil. I just like to have fun. I don't know. I just think, you know.
Do you think that being different, like and dressing differently in society's eyes, kind of? Do you think it makes people warm to you more, or like more attracted to you? You're more like eye candy. It's like, you know, who is that person? Why is she?
It does work. It does work in your favour.
Yeah.
I mean, first and foremost, I don't try to be different because I do me.
Yeah.
The minute you're trying to be different, you're not different because you're now conforming, because then that means you're having to look around. What I do comes from inside of me and just fun. As I said, like my hairstyle...
It's original.
Yeah, my hairstyle's inspired by Walt Disney / Johnny Bravo. Do you know what I mean? I just have fun with it. I don't think... I just do what I want to do.
Yeah.
It's Marmite, you know. Some people warm to me. You know, they're very... Yeah, they're very welcoming. I like your hair, or I like the way you dress, or where did you get this, or where did you get that? And then you get some people, it's like, later. Dickhead. Look at her hair, blood. Dickhead. Or you get some mums like...
I see the vibe.
It's funny, I find it funny.